four system, so that they kind of wasted his talent. I always thought he was a better penetrating, defensive tackle than he was a run stuffer. I mean, he did both very well, but yeah, the Jets definitely need to get some pressure on the outside to complete this defense. I don't know what they're going to do with Jamal Adams because that relationship is clearly rocky, to say the least.
They need to put on a lipstick and kiss his behind right now. Like, he is a top 5 guaranteed safety in the NFL, and he's a stud. The guy, if you put other pieces around him, like, okay, Marcus May, he's okay. He's not anything fantastic. But if you were to go get another, like, stud safety and put next to him, God, that would be a nasty safety pair.
And it's one thing to watch Jamal Adams play, but even when you watch him break down tape, you just fall in love with the guy and the way he speaks about himself and what he expects from himself, and just the kid's amazing. He's a young talent, and they really need to shore up that secondary to help him out and get the defense rolling.
Well, if you put someone like Epinesa on the outside of Quinn and Williams, it'll take double blocks away from Williams. And then you're going to be getting single blocks across the board if you build up that defensive line, i.e. 49ers.
That's true.
I saw that massacre Sunday night.
I was known for hard-nosed defensive, big motor
guy. Reggie White, Gilbert Brown, ring a bell?
Absolutely.
Santana Dotson? Woo! Number 9, next on the list, the Saxonville Jaguars don't go defense, and I have C.D. Lamb going at number 9.
Woo.
Blue chip wide receiver, getting Big Stick Nick, his next big weapon, to pair up with DJ Chark. Can you imagine those two?
That would be pretty ridiculous.
Oh, my God. I don't think anybody in the AFC South would be able to defend that pair. And then if you get a tight end back that can actually do something in Jacksonville, if O'Shaughnessy stays healthy, that's a decent tight end mixing with that. But, I mean, even if Oliver comes back, he was projected to do decent this year. He got hurt. Like, the Jaguars cannot keep a tight end healthy to save their life. So I feel like if they get another blue chip wide receiver, put him with Chark, and then you still have Marquise Lee playing the slot, that could be a dangerous offense.
Well, hey, if they end up hanging on to D.D. Westbrook, you got chemistry there with Lamb also going to Oklahoma. And then who knows, maybe the Jaguars decide to double down and take Jalen Hurts later on in the draft and complete the circle.
Yep. And then I have number 8, Arizona Cardinals, and there's no other position to take right now bigger than this. Kyler Murray is running for his life every play, offensive tackle. Tristan Wirfs from Iowa. Big old stalwart tackle that will be able to go in as a tackle or a guard right away, but mostly a tackle. I mean, God, they need someone to protect Kyler, because if he wasn't as fast as he was, Kyler might be dead right now.
That's very true. And if anyone knows about Iowa tackles, it's you cheeseheads.
Hey, back off, okay? Don't talk about Bulaga like that. Oh, bri.
Yeah, Kyler actually tweeted out recently he was mad at Madden 20 for not making him giving him the escape artist X Factor on there. So
I don't know. There's a couple other escape artists. Like, to me, yeah, Carson still is having a couple rough games. He still has escapability. Like, I don't get it. Carson is one of the biggest guys on the field, and he will have 3 defensive linemen bearing down on him, and he'll just turn into like a freaking rabbit, and then bloop after turn off, and then he comes out, and I'm like, there was no room. How did he get out of that? He's one of the best escape artists I've seen, especially for a big guy. Yeah, Kyler's fast, he's slippery, but I mean, you want to talk about escape artist, Russell Wilson.
Oh yeah.
God dang.
What I really appreciate about both those guys you just mentioned, Carson and Russell, is they never break down in their mechanics when they're doing that.
No.
They always have 2 hands on the ball. They keep their elbows high. They keep their eyes downfield.
Mm-hmm.
They set their feet when they go to throw again.
Yeah, they make sure to try and continue the play rather than just running the ball. And a lot of quarterbacks just try and run the ball.
And you've seen other guys very good at scrambling around, like Steve McNair, for instance, but he would always hold the ball with one hand and have it weighed,
like a loaf of bread.
Yeah, I mean, he could do
hey,
that.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I got some market milk Kroger bread.
But yeah, it's great to watch.
Number 7, Detroit Lions. Their defensive line looked like there was going to be a stud this year. Instead, it was a sieve. Running backs had a day this year. Yeah, there was some injuries, but Snacks Harrison played all season. Snacks is a top defensive tackle. There should be no reason why he should be going ahead and still not producing. I can't sit there and beg enough to get them more interior pressure. I feel like the Mike Daniel signing was more of a, hey, let me play on this team because I want to play the Packers twice a year. So I feel like Derek Brown, defensive lineman from Auburn, would be a huge help.
Listen, I mean, Gerard Davis, Snacks Harrison.
No, Gerard Davis is overrated, man. I'm sorry. I can't take it anymore.
I'm just saying,
can't take Gerard.
Think of all that the Lions have invested on defense.
Yeah.
Not including their head coach, Patricia. And it's one of the bottom half defenses in the league. I mean, they really got to do something about it for sure. And drafting
$90 million contract for Flowers, brought in Kennard. Just there's not enough production there for me. I mean, you gotta bring in something else, man. Something like a blue chip defensive lineman next to Snacks. And if you do that, you'll be able to push pressure up the middle. And when you do that, you flush the quarterback right into a sack on the outside. It's defensive lineman 101, baby. Number 6, Atlanta Falcons. They need secondary help bad. One to pair up with Trufant. Jeff Okudah from Ohio State. Quarterback
Yeah, for sure. They churn them out like freaking, like Alabama churns out.
Like one year starts too. Just, hey, see ya. Go to the NFL.
And you can go, you can go back a long ways to first round, even first, second round, third round cornerbacks for Ohio State. They're very disciplined. They always find the right guys for their scheme. They're great athletes. And, it's going to be a great pick for them.
You know who's had a really solid year as a ex-Buckeye? Gary and Conley. Had the legal trouble coming to the league. He didn't really get healthy for Oakland, and finally he was healthy this year. So they traded him. Goes to Houston, and he actually looks really good. He's starting to look a lot like himself from when he played at Ohio State. So,
I mean, it's actually kind of funny.
Like it.
It's funny when you think about it. I mean, Malcolm Jenkins was okay for the Saints, but then great for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Apple was pretty bad for the Giants, and now we'll see with the Saints.
Goes to the Saints, and he's doing pretty decent.
Yeah, so they've been known to move around, those Buckeye DBs.
Yeah, and you know what? If you move them around, I still think they still got enough talent. I still think Denzel Ward's a heck of a talent, and I feel like Cleveland is not putting enough weapons there in defense to help him. But either way, I still think he's a solid talent. And then moving on into our breaking the top 5, Denver Broncos, Andrew Thomas, tackle from Georgia. Man, the tackle for Georgia, I can't remember his name because he's so damn bad. Like, I can't remember, because I know they have Risner at guard. Who do they have at left tackle? Because he got smoked by the Smith brothers in that Green Bay Denver game, and it's been like that all season, Dillon. So, I mean, Georgia always produces offensive linemen, and Isaiah Wynn was the last one to come out that looked pretty dang good. Yeah, he got injured in his rookie year, but he came back, and he's coming back now for New England, and he's starting at left tackle. But, yeah, Broncos need help on the offensive line, and then I think they're going to worry about QB and maybe trade back up in the first because – I feel like tackles are a premium position this year, like QBs and wide receivers are. So you're gonna have to take tackles early when you can.
It's funny, man. I've been wondering for a number of years now, like how long until these big guys in high school just figure out something else to do with their lives. You know what I mean? Like how long until you just get tired of never getting the ball, having horrible knees for the rest of your life, horrible back pain, and just figuring out something else to do. You know what I mean? So I definitely think offensive line play is going to decrease over, in time. But that's why I think that's why you see these everyone going to the spread system. It takes less time you don't have these road graders that have to hold blocks up front. You basically just have to stand there, punch a guy for a second, and let the ball come out on a slant and see what happens.
Some of these quick arms the QBs having come out of the draft, you don't even need to block. You just put your hands up and then ball's already out. Yeah. Done. But number 4, moving on, Jerry Jeudy from Alabama going to the Washington Redskins, getting Haskins another weapon. That's another scary combo. Jerry Jeudy and Scary Terry. Woo!
Yeah, that would be awful. Hopefully Haskins continues to not develop if that happens.
Go, the rival comes out. Number 3, Miami Dolphins, Mr. Tua from Bama. I haven't projected this high still because they already said he's in rehab right out of surgery. Like, this kid wants to continue his career. He has the drive to play. I mean, it showed when he came back from this past injury he had before the hip on his ankle. He came back in to play LSU, and he still had a decent game, even at 60-70%. So I want to go ahead and put him to the Dolphins at 3. I feel like he'd be a good fit for the Dolphins, and maybe can, especially keeping Devontae Parker there. Parker's proven himself. Jakeem Grant's getting better and better. Gesicki finally woke up this weekend. I said, yeah, don't grab Gesicki. He scores a touchdown.
They even found themselves a gem in Preston Williams, who, injured, but we'll see what he can do next year. I'll be surprised. Tua's a curious case. Obviously, the medical is going to be huge, and we've seen players, who have been injured, such as the Bosas, have been injured and still get picked very high because they've been vouched for and the talent's
I just think Tua, with what he's done in college and the championships, I feel like what he's done already showing he's in rehab. I think he can be ready, but if he gets drafted into the spring training for the NFL, I feel like he can be ready for that, and that's what he's projected back by. And with a kid with his drive and doing this already in rehab 1 week from surgery, I feel like that's a big step for him, because you mentally need to do that and get into rehab. Yeah, it's going to hurt because you just had surgery, obviously, on a hip, but he's doing it, man. I like his drive. Miami, it could be a good fit with Flores, with the fire that they both have inside of them. So, number 2, New York Giants. Oh, God, I love this guy. I wish the Packers would give up 2 firsts to trade for him, but it ain't going to happen. Dang. Chase freaking Young from Ohio State. Oh, my God, folks, if you didn't watch last weekend with Chase Young and what he did, oh, my God. The guy is a possible dark horse Heisman candidate. He was suspended for a game, came back, and it's like he hasn't lost a beat. Chase Young, to me, if it wasn't a heavily QB-needed NFL, I think Chase Young would go number 1.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see what happens upcoming Ohio State-Michigan game.
Good Lord. I think Shea Patterson might be Shea Patterson, because the EA might be knocked out of his name. And then number 1 should leave no doubt who it is. One of my favorite QBs coming out of the draft, Mr. Joe Burrow for the Bengals. I feel like Zach Taylor gets his QB here. I feel like this is when he finally gets judged on when this is the guy he wants. Joe Burrow is a heck of a prospect. Took down the beast Alabama in the regular season, which is pretty tough to do in the college world. And then on top of that, he just keeps rolling. Like, yeah, his defenses may give up bad games, but Joe just keeps burning through defenses. He's smart. He takes the 4 or 5 yard QB runs instead of trying to force it downfield. He's smart. And for him to be that smart coming out of the NCAA into the NFL, that's big. And hey, if the Bengals can convince their number 1 wideout in AJ Green to stay and pair up with Tyler Boyd, finally get a QB in Joe Burrow, that could be something a little nice there.
Yeah, Burrow definitely has the advantage of being on the East Coast, so he gets a lot of national exposure compared to like Justin Herbert at Oregon.
Yeah, he just lost Arizona State.
Fair enough, but I'm just saying, as far as national exposure, not everyone watches Oregon games because they're so damn late. And then
Pac-12, yeah.
But Yeah, Burrow was definitely getting attention with the passing yards that he was putting up